Hey, welcome back to another video nobody asked for. I'm Sarah and today I'm going to be talking about theater mishaps. More specifically, audition mishaps and really mean directors. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into the video. My first little story is about my worst audition ever. This show I was auditioning for was Carrie. Now, I didn't love Carrie until I decided to audition for this role because I didn't really know much about it, but in looking into it, I was like, girl, oh my gosh, I love this show and I want to play Carrie so bad. And I still want to play Carrie so bad, even though it's not exactly my range, but shut up. Anywho, I was auditioning for Carrie. I decided to sing Kindergarten Boyfriend from Heather's, and
big mistake. Big. Huge.
I practiced so very hard so I could sound amazing for this audition. Audition day comes. I'm so very nervous. Wait for a really long time before I actually get to go in. I think it was maybe like half an hour to an hour I waited. I finally go in, confident as ever. I even attempted to warm up hours earlier. It was a fail because I got really scared. I was in the bathroom and I'm like, oh my gosh, people are gonna hear me and they're gonna laugh and I'm gonna sound bad. So didn't really get much of a warm up in beforehand. So I start singing and I don't know what demon possessed my body that day, but the voice that came out of my mouth was not mine. It wasn't mine. I don't know who it belonged to, but it wasn't mine. I sounded like a person who was tone deaf. I sounded like a person who never tried to sing before in their entire life and decided, let me decide to sing today. I sounded horrendous. Horrendous. I'm like, this is not what I sounded like when I practiced. This is not what I sounded like when I practiced. I sounded good. I don't sound very good right now. So I stop immediately. I'm like, I don't know what's going on right now, but I sound really bad. So can I start all over? They're like, yeah, sure, fine, whatever. Sing again. Terrible. I sound horrific. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but this is really freaking me out. So I stop again. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on. I practiced so hard. And they're like, it's okay. I'm like, no, it's not okay. It's not fine. This is not going very well. So I start again a third time and I just muddle through it, sounding horrible. The worst I've ever sounded in my entire life. You know, my voice was all shaky and everything. And the thing is, I'm always nervous for auditions, especially singing auditions, but it's never, ever negatively affected my voice. At least not that, to that extent. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And as soon as that was over, I left, went to the bathroom to cry, obviously, and threw away that sheet music, deleted Kindergarten Boyfriend from my playlist, and never looked back. Never looked back. Like one of the most humiliating moments of my entire life. For anyone who's seen Glee, the episode where Rachel flops her yacht audition is exactly how I felt.
No, please, you have to, you just have to, please just give me one more chance, please.
I felt like a failure. It's not a good time. Next story is about my second worst audition. This one happened before the Carrie audition. When I went into the Carrie audition, I was thinking, no audition could be worse than this audition, but the Carrie audition proved me wrong. But anywho, this show I was auditioning for was In the Heights. For a while for the director to arrive and everything, and he arrived late because the musical director wasn't there. He was like, you know what, let's just start with choreography because the director was also the choreographer. We all went in and we did the choreography, and for anyone who knows me, you know I can't dance, so that didn't go very well. So I was thinking, okay, I can redeem myself with my singing because I got this. So we go back out in the hallway, wait to get called. I turn and I go into the room and the director asked me, oh, why do you want to audition for the show? Like, how'd you find out? And I was like, I'm just here to perform for you. I don't need all these questions. I didn't know I was coming on an interview today. I hate it when directors do that. Leave me alone. Just let me perform. Stop asking me all these questions. I hand the musical director my sheet music. I start to sing, and I was not in time with the music at all because I had only sung the song a cappella when I was practicing. In fact, I don't even think there were too many times where I sang the song full out. I don't know why I thought I could sing this song, but I guess in my head I was like, this song fits perfectly into my range, not a single note is too high for me, so I'm good. The musical director had to rush to catch up with me, and I was like, oh snap, dang, whoops, my bad. Despite the fact that the song fit perfectly in my range. Your girl cracked. She crack-a-lack-a-dact, okay? And then I stopped because I was so embarrassed, and the director said, no, keep going, and I keep going, confident shot. And then I just leave. And when the stage manager, she confirmed my email, I'm thinking, what's the point? Don't even try to confirm my email. I wasn't good at dancing. The singing part was even worse. You know I'm not gonna get cast. Don't even waste your time, baby girl, because it's not gonna happen. I mean, the only reason why she did that is because they sent me a rejection email, which I guess is nice, but at the same time, like, I don't want to be reminded of that. Ooh. So my next two stories are gonna be about mean directors. So the first story I'm gonna tell about a mean director is a director I had for a couple of shows when I first started doing shows when I was in college. And honestly, I don't even think, well, I was about to say, I don't think he's that bad. He wasn't the worst director in the world. Not at all, but he did, like, low-key have anger issues, so there was that. We were doing cabaret. We were practicing the opening of Act 2 after we just finished singing the Nazi song, and I guess I stood a little bit too far away from the rest of the group because we were all supposed to be all close-knit, and everybody else was like right here, and I was right here. And he was like, Sarah, get closer with the group. And I push over, and then he just starts yelling at me. He went from 0 to 100 real quick. He's like, I'm tired of telling you, Sarah. Blah, blah, blah. The strength it took for me not to cry in that moment, it was a lot. It was so much. And oh my gosh, it's not even the only time he yelled at me. There were other times. There's a recording that usually gets played by a boy singing Tomorrow Belongs to Me. I got to sing the part of prepubescent boy. They recorded my voice and played the recording during the show. But in rehearsals, before Tech Week anyway, they didn't do that, so I just had to sing it right then and there. The content Sarah sang was really overwhelming for me. You know, I understood his frustration and all, but there was one time in particular that really annoyed me because there would be these couple of notes that would get played and then I would start singing. But this one rehearsal, these couple of notes weren't played. So I was waiting for my cue, as you know, actors do, waiting for my cue. It just doesn't come. And then I hear Sarah sing, and I'm like,
Well, excuse me.
Oh, damn, I was waiting for my cue, but okay. That was some shenanigans. I don't know why. I ended up getting yelled at because I didn't get my cue, but whatever. Of all the stories I could have told about this director being mean when he's angry, this one was definitely the most mild. I don't know why I decided to tell this one because there are way worse examples of him being horrible when angry. Honestly, despite all the yelling and all the meanness towards me and other people, one of the best directors I've ever had the opportunity to work with. As odd as that sounds. Yeah, he was really mean and he had anger issues, but I still preferred working with him than other people I worked with before and after him. The next story is from when I was in Hairspray. Now, my director when I was in Hairspray was actually on Broadway, in 2 different shows on Broadway. As cool as it was to be able to work with somebody who was on Broadway, she didn't like me. She didn't like me at all. Anybody who was in the cast probably thinks, Sarah, that's not true. That's not true. Yes, it is. And I will tell you why I think that this is true. There were just certain instances that made it clear as day that, oh, girl, they like me. There was this one time. She was giving a lecture about something. I don't even remember because this was a couple of years back. She was saying, if you're a shy person, I don't know what you're doing here. And I was just sitting there thinking,
Well, excuse me.
why don't you direct it towards me next time? Why don't you say, Sarah, what are you doing here? I don't understand why you're here, Sarah. Because I was the only shy person in the cast. It's not like we had a cast full of shy old beings. No, this isn't to say that everybody else is super bubbly or anything, but no, I was the only shy person in this cast. It was very obvious to me that she was talking about moi, Sarah. To answer your question, you cast me. That's why I was there. That's why I was there. If you didn't want me there, you didn't have to cast me. But you did that. It is your fault that I am here. It is your fault. Blame yourself. Blame yourself. I mean, yes, I accepted the role because who doesn't want to do Hairspray, okay? It's a You cast me. You cast me. The whole thing about actors not being able to be shy is so dumb. One of the fathers of modern theater was a very reserved person himself. The person I'm referring to is Michael Chekhov. So he wasn't the father of modern theater, but he was a prominent figurehead in acting. He created the psychophysical approach. He wasn't outgoing, he wasn't bubbly or anything. He was very reserved himself. The fact that people really have it in their head, theater people, mind you, really have it in their head that being shy, you can't be an actor, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Like, you can be shy and be an actor. You can be shy and be an amazing actor. There was also another time where one of the Dynamites dropped out of the show because she couldn't do the show anymore. There was about 3 black girls that they could have chose to replace her who were in the show, me being one of them. And I remember the director and the assistant director talking about, you know, replacing her and whatnot, and they're like, we don't really have much to choose from. Talking about me and 2 other black girls who were in the show. Basically, they said we were talentless and we wouldn't be good enough to replace the girl who left, even though one of the girls actually played a Dynamite in another production of Hairspray. The director says to her white male assistant director, maybe you could play one of the Dynamites, because at least you have the talent, you know, because none of these black girlies do. They casually said this while I was in the room, like I was a piece of furniture. Definitely kind of confirmed in my mind that the only reason why I was there was because they needed black people. I remember one time I was talking to another one of the girls in the cast, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was only cast because I'm black. I was only cast because they needed black people. I remember the stage manager was there listening to our conversation, and he didn't deny it. You would think that as a stage manager, you'd be like, no, sir, that's not true. You're very talented. No. He sat there, he listened, and he didn't say anything, which again confirmed in my mind I was only cast because I needed black people. I know for a fact that the director definitely thought that I didn't put in any effort, because I remember I overheard her having a conversation with the musical director, talking about, yeah, you can tell, like, it's so obvious who puts in the effort and who doesn't. And I'm just like, bro, I have a life outside of this. Just because I messed up in a dance that literally everybody forgot because you taught it to us one day and then we didn't work on it for weeks. And then I'm expected, once we decide to rehearse it again, I'm expected to already know it, despite the fact that y'all never videotaped it and put it in the group so we can practice it on our own. Every single piece of choreography we had, they'd film it and then they'd put it in the Facebook group so we could practice on our own, but they didn't do that with this dance. All the director did was teach us the choreography and then move on and then bring it back up weeks later and expected us just to remember it. Everybody messed up, but since I messed up the most, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. And even her own mother didn't give me the time of day until way later, and she even apologized, like, oh wow, I'm so sorry, like I didn't give you the time of day. I'm like, yeah, I'm running out of time. So that's all I have for today. If you didn't hate this video, you can like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Thanks for watching.